Hello, everyone. This is Jim Simard with Care Printing and Publishing. I've been authorized by ClearPropTV's Paramotor podcast to edit this week's show and rebroadcast it for you. In this edit, I endeavor to focus on the guest, their story, and what they have to say. If you find this show even a little bit informative, please give it a thumbs up, and that will benefit others. It'll allow them to find the video easier and learn as well. So, if you have any questions, put them down below in the comment section and I'll answer them. Also, if you enjoy the show and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified when more videos come up. Have a great day. Enjoy the show.
Anyways, welcome everybody. My name's Shawn Simons. This is PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, ClearProp TV, and paratalk.org. We're going to quickly say hello to everybody on the panel, and then we're going to get to our guest, which is named Shawn also. So tonight, refer to me as PPG Grandpa or Grandpa so we don't get Shawn and Shawn mixed up. All right, guys? As always, we have ParamotorSong.com, our very own Linda Anderson, who is on mute. She just unmuted herself, and let's go ahead and see the pom-poms. And there we go. We got it. Awesome.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Monday night. You know where to be on Mondays. Here we are. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Shawn, for being our guest tonight. I'm super
You're
excited.
welcome.
So I'm always excited about Mondays. So I got my awesome panel, and I got my chatters in the house tonight. And welcome, welcome. Enjoy the show. This is for you. My chatters and my viewers, it's all for you. And I'm Paramount. And you know how I got to be Paramount is my son, Robert Michaels, has a show on Thursday night, Paragliding Talk, Jack Con. So y'all got to check it out on Thursday night. Robert Michaels, he's awesome.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. And of course, if you guys don't already know Linda Anderson, she's our PR girl. If you want to be on the show, just get up with Linda. And the way to do that is get up with her by going to paramomusa.com. That forwards over to her Facebook page. Just PM her and say, hey, I want to be on PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast. So she'll hook you up. So thank you, Linda, for being on the panel.
Thank you.
We also got Will Fly from willflyppg.com. What's up, Will?
Hey, what's going on? Good to be here. Monday night. Just started raining, so this is the place to be right here.
Absolutely. Has it been nice over there lately, or has it just started to rain now, or what?
Yeah, it just started raining like 5 minutes ago. But no, the weather's been decent, and I've been able to get some good flying in. Nice sunsets. Couldn't really ask for more.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the panel. You're going to be looking for questions in the super chat. So if anybody has any questions, make sure that you tag Willfly and Jim. They will find your questions and forward them over to here, so Shawn will be able to answer them. We also got Jim from Canada. The only guy I know that has maple syrup smelling money. That just seems to be a running joke. That's what it's all about, right? Because you're from Canada, my favorite place.
You betcha. You betcha. Maple syrup.
Maple syrup, you gotta love it. All those loonies and toonies and maple syrup smelling money. I mean, it's great up there. If you haven't been to Canada, you got to go to Canada. It's one of my favorite places. So, you've been flying up in Canada. How many flights have you got?
152.
152. That's awesome, buddy. Now, you also do a lot of printing for us. You do the decals, you do stickers, calendars, and things like that. Can you tell us really quick about your company and how people can go there and check it out?
Sure, yeah, you can, if you want any stickers or checks or bills of lading, if you're a trucker, you can get business forms. Just go to carepp.com and you can go to a DIY site from there, or get custom forms done, and we'll make it happen.
Good deal. I see a QR code. What is that for?
Hey, that'll take you right to carepp.com if you... I don't know how the heck it's going to work unless you're looking at a computer screen, but...
I got a computer screen. I'll use my phone and check it out. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, you'll have to try it out. Everybody should try it out. If you email me from there, then I'll send you a sticker. How's that?
That's awesome. So get free stickers from Jim. Check out his QR code. Thank you so much, Jim, for joining us today. We also got Joshua Marsh, PPG. What's up, buddy?
Not much. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. How long you been flying now?
About 3 months now. I got 25 flights in.
Really? You been flying today?
Oh no, too stormy today.
Too stormy? And you don't want to go flying too stormy
No.
weather? Good for you. Good for you.
Done that once before. I ain't doing it again.
Well, that's really good. You always want to make sure that you you look at your weather and your weather apps. What weather apps do you look at real quick?
Use Windy, Radar Scope, and Ryan Carlton mainly.
Radar Scope is really good. I like that too. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, my name is Shawn Simons, PPG Grandpa. Welcome to the show, buddy. Congratulations. For all the people out there that don't turn on YouTube and Facebook and see you fly all the time, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into paramotoring.
Well, you know, I tried to get into paramotoring in when I was about 40, which was about 2000. Somehow I got wind of it, that it was a thing and it was happening. And I started searching out. I don't think the internet was a big thing then. And somebody said, oh, you know, they do skydiving over in this little town. I bet those guys would know how to get hooked up in that. So I went over to the drop zone and started hanging out with those guys one day, and nobody knew anything about it. They said, man, you ought to start doing this. So I got hooked up into skydiving for a few years. And then I got married again, and the skydiving and marriage wasn't really a good thing, I don't guess. It's kind of more of a single guy sport, or for me it was. So anyway, that kind of went by the wayside. And then years later, I was just, I don't know, watching YouTube or something. And I think I saw Tucker Got and thought, oh, that was what I was wanting to do when I was doing the skydiving. But it was real easy to get hooked up with somebody then and learn about it. So I called several guys. The quickest one I could get into was Texas Wind Riders over in Farmersville around here in Dallas, Donald Brock, and trained up there for a few months. And anyway, just got into it and it clicked, and I've just been doing it pretty regular, you know, just several times a week ever since then. I think the only time I've really laid off is on my first motor I had. I burned a hole in a piston. It took me about 2 months, I think, to get it going again. But that's been about the longest I've been off flying since.
Wow, our panel member Jim just did the same thing, burn a big hole in his piston.
Did he figure out what happened?
We're thinking maybe the spark plug got a little loose and extra airflow heated it up too much. We're not 100% sure, but it's gonna be a month now. Oh, it is a month today that I've been out of the air. So
I'm sorry about that. That sucks.
Yeah, it's not good. So do you have a second motor in stock for the next time it happens?
Yeah, I do.
I've been told, people say to me, you know, you're supposed to have a second motor sitting around. I'm like, what? Are you nuts? But now I'm starting to consider it.
Yeah. But you know, I ended up keeping that first rig that I had as my backup, but I never fly it. I never go back to it. I get used to, I'm flying a McFly with a Moster 185 now, and it's just kind of my go-to rig. I never fly the other one. It just kind of sits there and is lonely all the time. You know what caused my hole in the piston? Well, I'm not exactly sure how, but it was, you know, when the Mosters were having all the exhaust problems, and I bought an aftermarket exhaust. Motor was running great. I put an aftermarket exhaust on there, and in about 30 minutes of flight time, a hole burned in my piston. I didn't change any of the settings. I didn't change anything. All I changed was an exhaust, and it wasn't a factory exhaust. It was an aftermarket. So I kind of think that's what did it for me.
Interesting. You got a bunch of questions, so I'm going to go over to Will Fly and have Will Fly ask these questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah, and Shawn, first of all, it's a pleasure. You know, thanks for making time. I know what you got going on there. So congratulations and thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. Ogie03 wants to know who your favorite flying partner is.
Yeah, and I know him, and he's trying to get me in trouble with my son. He and my son and I, we fly together a lot. And anyway, so it's him. My son's probably not watching, so I'll say it's him.
Probably a good answer, right?
Robert Muse. I think, yeah, y'all interviewed him just recently. Robert Muse.
Yeah. Sure have. Yeah, nice guy. Bill H wants to know, and this is a good question. How do you fly so much?
I'm retired. I've been retired for about 12 years. I was a car dealer for about 25 years or so, and sold out about 12 years ago. Yeah, about 12 years ago. So I just have a lot of free time on my hand, and just makes it kind of easy.
Right. What's so I mean, do you have any other hobbies, or are you kind of like me? Like I pretty much eat and sleep, and everything is about flying, you know. So I'm like on one track when it comes to my hobbies. But do you have any other hobbies that?
You know, I started out, I was, when I started flying, I was into offshore fishing, and then this took over that, and I sold the boat. And so now it's mainly, I just fly. And then I do all the other things that, you know, sometimes responsibilities jump on your back that you have to be responsible for. And so I'll get those done and get back to flying. But mainly every day it's something about, you know, cameras or wings or paramotors that, you know, I get up and that's kind of what I'm working on, what I'm doing, or where I'm flying, or it's pretty much an everyday deal.
Right on. This is, I guess this is to you and to Jim, I guess. Para Ninja wants to know which engines were these, talking about blowing holes in pistons.
Both of them were Moster 185 plus.
And so was mine.
What year? What year were those?
Mine's a 2017.
Yeah, I think mine was a 2017 that I burned a hole in. I've got a MY20 now.
MY20.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you told us what happened with yours, Jim, but what happened to yours that, I mean, obviously it got too hot, I guess, but did you ever come up with the reason it happened?
Yeah, for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the muffler, I think somehow the muffler was tuned differently than what my factory muffler was, is the only thing I can figure out, because it happened within 30 minutes of me putting that new muffler on there. And I don't know, maybe the muffler could have had a leak, you know, around the gasket. I don't know if that could cause that to happen, but yeah. I know that it had something to do with that muffler.
Hairsmith 101 mentions in the chat here, it says, after the aftermarket exhaust with less back pressure will lean the mixture, making hot spots on the top of the piston in a two-stroke.
Well, that's exactly what I think happens. So, but I'm no expert on it. You know, the only thing, I'm just good at working on two Mosters, just the ones I own. I don't know anything else much about any other motors, but I have sure worked on those a lot. I didn't know I was going to become a two-cycle engine mechanic when I got into this.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that they will become a two-stroke mechanic, but it's good because there's really not much there. You know, there's not much to it. Also, too, real quick, since you had the hole in your piston, how many hours were on that piston before the holes showed up? Now, I know Jim has only been flying for 100 and some flights. How many hours have you been flying, Jim? Or what's your hours on your Moster?
Come back and I'll let you know.
About
130-ish.
About 130 hours?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Shawn? How many
hours?
Yeah,
I was probably just over 100 or so on that one when it happened. Right around 100. Okay. And it was about the second or third muffler too that I put on it.
Which muffler did you put on when it burnt out?
If he doesn't want to say, he doesn't have to say.
Yeah, I'd rather not say. I mean, the guy's a friend of mine. I mean, I still do business with him, and you know, he's a good guy. I'd hate to throw something like that out there.
Yeah, we'll text privately about that later on.
Were there any signs that this was about to happen? Any odd characteristics that developed, or
it was running differently than it was before I put the muffler on there, and I really didn't know at the time to be that concerned about it. I still had power, you know. It was okay. It was flying, so I just assumed everything was okay. So, but it was running differently. I could definitely tell a difference in the way it was running. It's hard to remember. That's been a couple hundred hours ago, but there was a difference. I just don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And it was a motor out. I was on the way. I'd been up about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. And I think it was the first time I had to call my wife to get her to come pick me up when that happened. And it was about, I don't know, 20 miles away or so. Landed in a guy's yard, and it was about 6:30 in the morning, just past daylight. And landed in a guy's yard, and it was cold, and I was cold, and I landed, tried to get as close to his house as I could. It was out in the country. And so I had to go knock on the door and wake him up. And I was kind of worried I was going to get shot. But I was really hoping that he had a pot of coffee going whenever he opened the door, and I was going to ask for some coffee, but he said, "Oh, why don't you come on in? And I got a Coke. You want a Coke? An ice cold Coke?" So no, I think I'm going to pass on that. But anyway, it ended up being a pretty good experience. But you know, too, that was my first motor out, and as I was looking for a place to land, that was pretty high. I was actually going somewhere when it happened. But there were places I was looking at. I had a lot of options, but there were some houses that were on land that I was really kind of worried about landing there, that I might get shot if I landed there. And it was kind of interesting. I never thought about that before until then, about actually landing in somebody's yard and whether I would be welcomed or shot or what would happen. You know, we got a lot of rednecks that live around this area, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, I'm looking online right now and looking at the super chat, and we had someone. Let me see if I can go back here. Hot Cocoa said, "Don't need to be a jackass, but electric motors don't burn holes in piston or go through mufflers." Para Ninja also said, "Well, they also don't get lighter as you fly." You know, one of the things. I mean, it's great that y'all came up with this. But yes, electric motors. I would love to get an electric paramotor soon. And I think that's going to be my next big purchase, is an electric paramotor.
Well, they'll only fly about 15 minutes, won't they? I mean, you can't really fly very long on.
They have a 30-minute battery and an hour battery right now. And
oh, really? I didn't know that.
The guy that has the hour battery, Neil, he actually let me fly, and he says he's been flying it, and he gets way over. Well, I don't know about how much over, but over an hour flight when flying. So,
man, that's pretty good. You know, I flew with a guy one time that had an electric motor, and he's the only guy I've known or flew with. And it just so happens that when we were flying, his motor went out, and it had burned a lead off of the battery going to a contactor. And it burned I guess the wire, the end on the wire didn't have a good solid connection, and it burned it in half, and he came down. I mean, he's okay, but
so
he had a motor out too. So you do have motor outs.
Right. So you don't have a piston hole, but you do have wires that can burn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. I think one of the things that I'd like to do also is getting 2-hour batteries, and then, you know, coming down, replacing the battery with another battery. But the batteries seem to be $1,200 or $1,800.
Ooh.
For the batteries right now. So,
well, what about the motor itself? Is the motor itself about comparable to a gas engine when you initially buy the frame and motor?
As far as cost or weight or thrust?
As far as cost.
I'm not sure about the cost because it wasn't my SP140 that I flew. It was my friend's Neil. Neil let me borrow it. But as far as thrust, it always had a lot of thrust on it. I mean, when I flew it, it was like way more than my Moster 185, right?
Really?
Well, I just got this Black Hawk 220, and that thrust to me felt like the same thrust as I got from the SP140.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So SP140, I'm guessing it has the thrust very similar to a 220.
Well, I haven't thought about the thrust part of it. The only thing I've ever really wondered about was concerned about was the length of time it would run.
If you put it on a trike and you have 2 batteries, there's 2 hours worth of flight.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
3 batteries, there's 3 hours.
Yeah.
We can't do more than 5 gallons, but it never said anything about having more batteries. As long as we are not, the machine itself with the batteries are not more than 254 pounds, I would assume that we could put as many batteries as we want to on it, because there's nothing that says about batteries. So
that is an interesting concept. I hadn't thought about it like that.
That would be a very long trike flight.
Wow.
Yeah. Did you see, Shawn, Grandpa, did you see the comment by Hot Cocoa?
What's that?
Related to, he says 35 minutes about the time, 35 minutes on the light battery, an hour on the full battery, and an hour and 45 minutes on both. And he proved that last weekend. I was just talking to someone at Moonshiners who was looking to do that very same thing, put both batteries together. And so apparently that's doable.
Yeah, man, that's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
And
as far as the
how
weight, I
heavy
think
that
it's
would be.
comparable. I think like the weight of the battery versus the weight of the fuel, I don't think it's that much different.
It didn't feel like it was very much heavier than, actually it felt lighter than my Moster 185 with 5 gallons of gas. I always try to fly with 5 gallons of gas when I go fly, pretty much because I can get 2.5 hours out of the tank, and then I can go fly for 2 hours with a half an hour of, oops, I need to get back and something's going on, headwind or whatever.
Right.
But yeah.
Hey, I've got a thought, something that maybe somebody can in the chat will know some answers to. So 4th of July, I was experimenting with towing a large American flag. And when I put it out, I noticed it was a lot of drag. And so I'm wondering, does anybody have any experience with that? And will it stall your wing?
I've seen a lot of people fly with flags and stuff like that. They usually will have a weight down below, like a 5 or 10 pound plate to keep it from flapping backwards into the motor. But from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like it doesn't stall the wing out or anything.
Who's got experience with that?
Who?
James in the chat. So chime in, James.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, well, whenever I put
big flags, James says he uses a 10-pound weight, and I don't know how big is the flag that you tow, James. Well, I'm going to ask him, and then maybe you can use some of that information.
Well, the one I was experimenting with was about a 10 by 15 flag, and I put a 10-pound weight on the bottom. I've got some advice from Woody on how to kind of hook it up and get it to go, but I never really thought about it slowing me down so much whenever I dumped it out. And I don't know if it's actually possible for it to stall, but I don't know. It sure made me wonder.
One person was, I think it was Tucker Gott, of all people, was showing us how to pick up a banner. And he laid it out in kind of like so it was all laid out. And then there was a loop that he grabbed. And as he flew by and he picked it up with his foot. And then he went flying all the way along the banner. And it slowly came up. It basically kind of rolled out, so that you weren't taking it all at once and there was not a bunch dragging on the ground. You follow me?
Yeah. I think
And
I've seen videos of like the airplanes that pull banners do it like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
So James says that his flag is 17 by 9 foot with a 10-pound weight, and he flies a 22-meter Speedster 3. And then he also says trimmers fully in. However, the flag is made of F111 material, super light, not nylon material like most store-bought flags.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think my flag is heavier than that. It's kind of a heavy-duty flag.
Well, that makes sense, having a lighter flag for something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Cool.
Any more questions that we may have missed in the super chat, Will?
Yeah, you got a few. Bill H wants to know what your #1 flying spot is.
You know, there's just so many. There's so, I particularly like to travel and fly. I particularly like flying a place that I haven't flown before and finding a spot to launch and then getting up above the trees and seeing what it looks like up there. That seems to be the thing that I really like. As far as I know, I like going to the beach. Man, the beach is a really good place to practice, practice all kinds of stuff. And then usually there's a lot of guys at the beach. It's kind of fun to go hang out at the beach with a bunch of guys, but probably my favorite thing is just traveling and flying new places.
Do you like landing out?
Yeah.
Cool.
I just kind of got started doing that a little bit. Usually it's always return trips, but wherever I'm flying from. But recently, I had my wife kind of start picking me up occasionally, and it's been kind of cool. I'm going to be experimenting more with that. So I went up recently to Henson Gap up above Chattanooga and did some free flying. I kind of got into learning to do some of that at the I can't think of the name. Oh, it's a flat school or fly school or fly camp or something like that up there, up above Chattanooga. Bunch of cool dudes up there, and so I took some classes up there recently, and I want to get back up there and fly that area. It's a beautiful area up there. I wouldn't mind flying my motor and doing some free flying up there.
And then 3 says, has Shawn Lee ever done an SIV? And if so, did he share a bed with another pilot?
Oh, my.
Yeah. Who is it that asked that?
Someone named Ogie03.
Yeah. You got to watch out for that guy if you're going to sleep with him. Yeah, he wants to be the little spoon.
That's funny. And last one is, go ahead.
Yeah, we did an SIV a few months ago down there with Andrew Fuller, and there was Ogie or Robert Muse and Joe Horner, which was the guy we just met when we were down there. That was our first time to meet. But anyway, we did an SIV and we just all had a blast. It was a really good time, and getting to know Andrew was pretty cool, and all of his knowledge and plus what all he taught us was really cool. And then when we were not flying and in the hotel room, I tell you, if anybody ever has an opportunity to travel with Robert Muse, man, you just never know what you're going to get with that dude. He is a blast.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Travis DuPont wants to know if you're going to EFD, and if so, are you bringing Ogie?
I am, as a matter of fact.
Aha.
Yeah, I'm taking my trailer, my camper. Is he going?
I don't know. Ogie, you going?
We'll
no, Travis. Is Travis going?
Yeah, is Travis going? Is he saying?
Not yet.
We got kind of a lag on this, so what we're saying right now won't see for I don't know, maybe a minute. So it'll pop up here.
Oh, okay. All right.
slight lag. But
So are any of you guys going to EFD? Any of the panel?
I don't think I will make it to any major fly-ins this year. I will go to a private fly-in in September down south. I think one in Arkansas. But that's about it. I got too much stuff going over here. I just can't make it, which sucks. I do like to go out to different fly-ins. I see that you got a shirt. Is that from last year or this year? Apples. Looks like
2021. Yeah, last year.
Were you able to make it this year?
Yeah.
I wasn't able to make it this year, but last year I love by Apples. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool group down there or over there.
Did we get all the questions in the chat?
We did.
All right. Any questions for Shawn from the panel then?
Yeah, I got a question. You got a Mossor 185, and you were calling it your weed eater on this video that you posted.
Yeah.
And you were saying that you just mix the fuel and put it in and go. But I was wondering about the octane levels or the type of fuel that you use in that.
It's about a 90 octane where I normally buy gas. But when I'm out traveling, you know, I try to take 3 5-gallon cans with me when I travel. So if I go through that while I'm out, I have to kind of just get whatever I can get.
What do you go?
And you know, if I'm going to have to get whatever I can get, I get a regular unleaded. And the reason I do that is I got in trouble with an offshore boat one time and got water in the fuel and jacked up both engines, and it was unbelievable getting that thing running again. And one of the things that one of the mechanics told me was don't run high octane fuel because not many people buy it, and it sits in those tanks a long time, and they have more problems with water in the tanks, where everybody buys the low octane, the cheaper. That's the one that the tanks get turned more regular. And he suggested to always buy and put in your boat a low octane, you know, whatever's the cheapest gas you can get, because it'll have less water in it. So that's what I've kind of played that same game with my paramotors.
That's very interesting. I too always run the 87 non-ethanol. I don't buy the more expensive because I don't feel any difference. I don't see any difference. And the 87 non-ethanol seem to work fine. And I have no problems. I've never burnt rings or the head or had any problems. So I don't know. But I do.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense.
I use that Mulsil 710 and 800, mostly the 710. So I guess what we can do is ask everybody in the super chat, what fuel do you use? Do you use 87, 89, 93? Is it ethanol based? Is it non-ethanol? Do you use avgas?
Hey, and let me throw this out there too. So something I personally witnessed recently was Ogie, Robert Muse. So we pulled his head off at about, I think it was a little over 200 hours. And it was the first time that he had pulled it off, and we did it at my house. And he runs Sabre. And it had zero buildup in the port. It had zero buildup on the piston. The little lip on the top of the cylinder where it builds up around the very top up there, zero buildup there. The head itself had just a tiny little bit on one side of it, zero buildup at a little over 200 hours.
I agree.
And I've been using Motul. I've been using Motul ever since, but I have just recently ran out of my case of Motul, and I am switching to Sabre because I have to pull mine apart every 20 or 30 hours or so and clean that port out and just kind of clean it up a little bit. But man, that Sabre, the only thing I have noticed with his is when he cranks up, he gets a little smoke out of his when it's cold, but then it goes away.
Do you ever put any of that seafoam in your gas? I use the seafoam in my gas, and that really seems to really help a lot too.
Not with my paramotor. I have with other things like boats and stuff, you know, that's going to sit for a long time. And I believe in it with the boats. I mean, it really makes it, I think, really makes a difference.
I've been putting it in for years, and I've had no problems with it. So I don't know. I don't know if it's because I pull off the head every 10 hours and I pretty much clean everything up to, you know, like you said, because there's a rubber O-ring in the head, you can pop that thing off numerous times.
Reuse it every time. It works fine.
Exactly. Usually once a year, I'll replace the O-ring. Only because I pull it off every 10 hours, and I clean out that port, just like you said, and I clean off the head and everything, and I replace the spark plug every 10 hours, and no problems.
Yep, that's what I do, or maybe a little longer than that, but I hardly ever have any problems at all.
So how long does it take you to do? You do that every 10 hours, Shawn, or Shawn's?
I do, yes. I replace the spark plug, pull off the head, clean anything that needs to be cleaned. That little exhaust port always seems to be clogged, and just cleaning that out makes the motor run so much better, faster, and more power.
How long does that take you to
do? 5 minutes tops.
Really?
Yeah, man, it's crazy simple. You just pop them bolts, nuts loose, pull it off, clean it up, put it back on, and it's good to go.
You got to replace the bolts more than you have to replace the O-ring. Weird. Yep, because they're supposed to be single-use, high-feet locking nuts. I've found that I can usually get away with 3 times taking them off before they lose the lockingness on it. So I just get like, 10 or 20 from my favorite place that I get parts from, and I just keep them all, on the workbench. That way, in case one, if it screws all the way in with your hands and it doesn't stop, you don't use it. Those are the ones that you should screw in with your fingers, and they won't go in all the way until you put a ratchet on there and ratchet it down, and then it will lock tight without Loctite.
Yeah, same exact thing. That's what I do. If I keep some of them on my workbench, and when it needs it, I put them on, and if it doesn't, I don't put them on.
So that port, and sorry, I'm not trying to hijack, but the port that you clean, when it gets clogged, what symptoms would it cause?
Hard to start.
Yeah, hard to start. And if it does start, when you lean forward with it idling on your back to pick up your risers, it'll kill itself. It'll die. If you have it on your back and it's idle and you lean forward and it dies, 9 times out of 10, it's that port.
See, that's why I love this podcast. I've just learned something that's going to save me a lot of frustration. Because that's exactly what my motor's doing right now, especially even the leaning forward part when you said that. Yeah.
And Will, it's just so easy to pull that thing off and take a look at it. And too, for me, it gives me confidence, because you kind of wonder about this or that while you're flying and you don't want to have a motor out. But when I pull that head off, and it takes just a second, and I look in there and I see a nice piston and see everything looks like it's working good. There's no gouges in my cylinder walls. And man, when I put it back together, I feel confident to go out and fly for a long time, and not have a motor out. It's just it's a confidence builder for me. Plus it's, I think, good for the engine too.
Yeah. When and also too, every 10 hours I replace a spark plug because spark plugs are so cheap. What is it? What spark
plug do you use?
I use the one that doesn't have the screw on top. That's solid, and I forgot the number, but it's just a regular. What is it? NGK?
Yeah, 9ES.
Yeah, and I forget the number, but there's the Ultimate, and there's other ones. But it seems like all the ones that I've tried, they work, and I haven't had any problems with it. I just don't like the screw top because that kills my connection. So I get the solid one that's on top, and I can't remember the numbers offhand, but it's in my workshop, the ones that I do, and in my glove compartment because I keep, a 10-pack in there too, because you never know at the field. Oh, let's go ahead and change it out real quick.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I wonder how many people have, because of that clogged port, changed the spark plug, mess with their carburetor, you know, do all the things. I guess are kind of easy to access.
I have been guilty of doing that before I figured out the port trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't want to change your carburetor. The first thing you want to do when your motor's acting up and it's not giving you full RPMs, it dies on you, it's hard to start, you don't get that one pole start. When you lean forward, it dies on you. I would say 99% of that is you got build up on your head, you got build up in your exhaust, that little exhaust port. And to clean it, what you do, I think it's a 232, I can't remember.
Yeah, a little drill bit.
It's a little drill bit, but it's the one that you can put on a drill, right? So it has that big square end. I can't remember what that's called, but you know what I'm talking about. It pops into a drill and you can use it, right?
Yep.
Or you can have just the regular one that's long and small that you got to use a chuck, right? So the one that you have to use a chuck that doesn't have anything at the end, if you let that go and it falls through, you got to pull that apart. So what you do is you take this, get the drill bits that have the drill thing on it, and that way, even if you drop it, it's not going all the way in.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I like that. I wish
I could articulate what I'm talking about a little bit better, but I think you kind of get the gist of what I'm talking about.
Well, I've got a set of 3. I'll start out with a small drill and just chuck it up in my cordless drill. And then I'll drill that first one, and then I go to the next size up and drill that one. And then I go to the largest one, which is I know is the right size, and drill that through there.
Do you actually use like power to drill it, or do you use your fingers?
Now I use my cordless drill.
I use my fingers. I'm scared to death that I'm going to do something with my power drill and drill it out even more than it's supposed to, and I don't know what would happen then, so I don't know.
Hey, let me throw this out there. I've rebuilt carburetors so many times, but I recently decided to, instead of rebuilding my carb on the one I'm flying now, I just bought a new carburetor.
That's what I do.
And I don't rebuild them. I just put a new carb on it. It's unbelievable how much more power that gave me when I just put a new carb on it instead of rebuilding it.
I do
with the old
same
carbs
thing. Me personally, I let my students take them apart and rebuild them. You know, for school.
That's a good idea.
For school.
labor.
No, we don't use them for the paramotor. They're strictly there for the students to take apart, to look underneath, to, you know, change out the parts. You know, they're just basically taking off the screen and putting it back on, taking off a bladder, putting it back on. You know,
that's a good idea.
And so that really works. So if you guys have any, you know, used carburetors that you're just going to throw away or not use, let me pay the shipping and send them to me so I have some that the students can use, because we have all different types of the Walbros, so everybody can see the different types of carburetors, because they're the same but yet very different.
Hey, Shawn, did you mention were you the one that posted that link to the carburetor, the explanation of a carburetor?
I did.
Yeah, I saw somebody do that, but I've watched that before, and I watched that guy. He's a really cool dude.
Is this the transparent carburetor?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is amazing, man. Just watching that in 5 minutes, you get a real good understanding of what a carburetor does.
Yeah, so there's really good videos out there that really show. I mean, if you don't know what a carburetor does and you search for a carburetor, or how does a carburetor work, you know, you might get a pretty good explanation. But this guy that has the transparent carburetor that lets the gas go through and using super high speed slow motion, it's really amazing how these little carburetors work. I mean, the carburetor itself, not only does it mix the air and fuel, but it's also your fuel pump. So if you're not getting enough fuel and it keeps on dying, it's very possible that your carburetor needs to be rebuilt, because on one side it goes out and goes back in, right? And it sucks gas up and then it pushes your gas up, you know, or through, it pulls it back up from the tank. So It really is interesting how carburetor.
Yeah, just that simple little carburetor he made when he was slowing it down, like you were saying with that slow motion camera. It was really amazing to see how it actually went through and went into the cylinder. You know, that it wasn't just spraying the gas in there. I think it was atomizing. Anyway, it was just so, even though it was a simple carb, it was so complex, everything that was happening.
You know what else it shows or explains? Why they are so darn finicky. Why you have to get it just, just right, and why one little change makes a big difference, Great video.
Yeah. Yep. Yep, it's a thing. The carb is a thing. You got to pay attention to it.
That is true. Now we are at 7:52, about 8 minutes till 8 o'clock our time. You're in your car, so obviously we don't want to keep you in the car too long, even though we do appreciate it. How much longer do you want to chat with us? Just until 8 o'clock, just for another 8 minutes?
No, man, I'm good with whatever. I'm sitting in front of this hotel out here. The rest of the guys are sitting up in a room looking at each other. So and if I go up there, I will not be talking about paramotor stuff.
Oh.
And this is a lot more fun than going up there and talking about salads or something. I don't know.
Let's hope that they're not watching this live and going, what are you talking about, Shawn?
So does anybody use an Insta 360 camera?
I do.
Can you get sound? Can you get your voice to it when it is on a selfie stick?
Flying? Probably not. Probably not. If I do want to do audio, I have one audio, and I usually have the GoPro 8 in the little housing that I got for it, and then it will plug in a regular 3.5 microphone, and I use that for everything. I use that voice, and I just show the different Insta 360 or the
okay.
Yeah.
I think you can. Do you have that little adapter, Shawn, that plugs into the side of the Insta 360?
I do. I just got it.
Yeah. Okay. So, of course, that's going to be black. It's going to be nearly in there.
Is that going to be your main camera up there, Shawn?
I'm experimenting with it. I really like. I mean, it works pretty good on my helmet, and I've got it hardwired in to where I can, come through my boot on my boom, and I can talk on it that way. But I like experimenting with it on a selfie stick between my legs, sticking out in front of me.
Well, you still have to run the wire down the pole.
Well, I just recently, and I'm trying to get it figured out. It's the reason I'm asking the question is I've just recently got the Rode transmitters that transmit it. It sticks on right below that adapter you're talking about. And it fits right in line with that adapter. So it's invisible on the camera, and it'll send a message to another unit that I Velcro on my helmet with a line that comes down my boom, and it Bluetooths my voice from my 360 to my, and it sounds, I've just experimented one time with it and it sounds pretty good, but I'm still working on it.
I'd love to hear your feedback on that, after you've used it a few times. And
well, something I'm actually, what I'm wanting to do that with, for one thing is the perspective from that camera, being able to switch in post, from wherever to wherever. That concept is so cool to be able to do that. Plus, one of the things that I really enjoy doing is karaoke.
Are you kidding? While you're flying?
Well, no, I've not done it while I'm flying. But I'm kind of thinking it would be cool.
I love karaoke.
Yeah, I mean, I suck at singing, but I love. So anyway, so what I'm toying with, trying to get set up to do, is to get a song and fly some really cool places while I'm singing that song, and then in post come back and actually put the song over my flight so my lips are syncing up with the song.
I got you.
Yeah.
Funny. So what song would you sing then, Shawn? What song would you sing? Like would you like you're probably like a country guy, so you'd probably do country music songs.
Well,
the Breaking Heart.
Well, let me tell you, the first one that I tried was just 2 days ago, and it was Kid Rock, Born Free.
There you go. That's my man, Kid Rock.
Yeah, he's cool. And so it was so humiliating, though, whenever I got the footage and got back home and I started trying to put my footage together with that Insta 360 camera and listening to myself sing. It sounded kind of like this. It sounded kind of like, Born Free.
That's why you have to
it sounds so much better with that motor running, doesn't it?
Oh, it sounded great with that motor running. In fact, it was so bad. It was so bad that I couldn't find my spot on the song to be able to sync it up.
You could practice at home and just have like the blow dryer going while you're
put your motor on your back and go into your shower with the motor on and sing, right?
We just want to hear it.
Wants to hear it. I can't wait.
You know what we need to do? You know what we need to do now, guys, right? Is we all need to go fly, and we all need to do karaoke while we're flying. Before somebody watches this and does their own flying karaoke thing, right? Hey, if you guys do a flying karaoke thing, refer everybody to, ClearPropTV, the podcast. Please.
That just needs to be the next show.
Yeah.
All of us just singing.
So you're saying you actually it has to be your voice to the music.
No, I don't want it to be my voice to the music. I want it to be Kid Rock's voice with my lips looking like I'm singing.
Man, I think it would be better content the other way around.
Oh, gosh.
Well, and maybe that could be a thing, Maybe that could be something to do.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see how this rolls out.
This is going to be good.
You said karaoke, and I just about jumped out of the chair. I'm like, yeah.
I think John Wayne says, I'm in.
See?
Deweese Mill said, yeah, auditions now, Shawn. Travis said, sing us something, Shawn.
Something funny that happened a few years ago. So yeah, it's been several years ago, I guess. My little Shawn, my son, and I had to go to Nashville to do something. And anyway, so we were up there walking the strip. He bought a truck up there, and I went with him to pick a truck up. And we were walking down the strip, and there was a karaoke bar. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can karaoke in Nashville, Tennessee. How cool would that be? And so we roll in there and sit down, and I went and put my name in. And the guy right before me was, I'm not really sure what you call him, but he was like a girl dressed like a guy dressed like a girl, transvestite, or I don't know what the word for that is, but he was good looking, man. He was like dressed up, and he was a good looking woman to be a man, and he sang the song, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. And he had the crowd rolling. Everybody was just loving it. He was funny. And then they called my name right after that. It was terrible.
That was your turn to sing.
Yeah.
I think, Grandpa, I think you should do like a Beyonce song or something like that, I think that would be awesome. I'll do Jason Derulo.
Maybe we need to go fly together and do a duet.
Oh yeah.
or parts of it. So yeah, we take one song and then we take sections of the song, like the Highwayman.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I think that needs to be our next adventure, is just going up and doing some karaoke while we're flying and try to make it look neat. How cool would that be, karaoke?
And maybe that's the thing. Instead of the lip syncing, actually just put your voice out there. And it was kind of embarrassing, but it would be kind of cool, I guess.
I think it'd be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Who's
Maybe
good
this
at video
ugly one.
editing?
What's that?
Who's good at video editing? And we'll just pick a song, and one day we don't even have to link up. We'll just pick a verse. Everybody will just sing their own and have it on their 360 camera, and then we'll send it all to whoever.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Will Fly is one of the best editors that I know, so we might have to let Will do it.
I think that'd be really cool.
But I am interested in doing that.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty neat.
I say it's on.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm in.
All
Depends
right.
on the
So you're a
song.
singer too, then, Will? Will you
Oh, that'd be
sing
so cool. Jim from Canada, me from Arkansas, Will from North Carolina, you know,
Yeah, there you go.
Shawn from Texas.
You throw some Dwight Yoakam in there. We have some fun.
So it'd be like so it would be like a karaoke contest, and I would be the judge.
Oh, you
Oh,
got.
I love
Oh,
it.
you gotta
Oh, yeah, I
sing
love
too.
it.
You gotta sing. We're gonna put you back on the trike, and you're gonna have to sing on the trike next time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we can't get any slalom races going on in the United States, but we get a karaoke contest going on.
We do a mean karaoke contest.
That is funny. Oh
That
my
is
gosh.
great.
You started, Shawn. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
We'll call it the maple syrup since we got Canada in there.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. There you
Yep.
go.
Yep.
Yeah. I think
Actually,
Well, the more, I haven't really spoken to anybody about doing this much, except I guess Robert. I've told Robert and my son about it, but maybe I just need to post that crazy, ugly video that I put up of me singing and going, ooh, ooh,
That
ooh.
would get lots of hits. The next time I go fly, I'm going to do the same thing and do a karaoke. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to post it. So
I'll do that with a group.
I'm
I'm not going to do it individually.
I'm going to go ahead and post it. So I'll be the first one that did it.
Yes. Yes. And then you're going to have a bunch of people coming after you because I think I want to do that too.
There'll be lawsuits, but
We don't have to worry about copyright infringement.
Yeah, you guys all be fighting. You can't sing that. That's my song.
That's so
Sing that.
funny. We so got to do that. That'd be so
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
neat.
And there was one last question, if you want, if we have time, but it was Para Ninja wanted to know what your scariest moment flying was, I guess, outside of SIV.
Oh, that was a good way to put it. Outside of SIV, that was terrifying. But it was a really good thing, though. One time I was in Nevada at the Jean Dry Lake Bed, and I was a pretty new pilot, probably a year, maybe, and I got in some mountain rotor, and man, let me tell you, it was scary. It was scary, and I was so glad to be on the ground after. I think I took about, I don't know, 2 or 3 half deflations, and plus I really didn't know what I was doing anyway. Not that I know much better now, but it was scary. Just the rotor off of. I had been flying all morning, and it was pretty smooth. And then as the wind was picking up, I didn't really know it because I was down on the dry lake bed in the valley, and the wind was going over my head. And then I got down close to one end of the valley down there and went up to get some altitude. And man, I caught that wind coming over the ridge, and it just hammered me. And it was a thing. It was a thing. It left a mark on me. I didn't crash or anything. I landed and everything was good. But
When you were flying, did you see your wing like going all over the place as you were flying?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I saw one side of it fold in, and come back out and do it again. And yeah, it was a thing. Yeah, that was my first experience with rotor and realizing that it's a thing.
Absolutely. I didn't see who said it, but they said you can get a PPGK rating, PPG karaoke rating.
Yeah.
Who said that? I want
PPGK.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Who said that? I want to. Greg Laney. Greg Laney said it. Greg Laney said it. Yep. So,
And he says it's USPPA approved.
Yeah, you got to get a rate. You have to get a rating.
What was that, John?
No. You have to get a rating. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sean. Yeah. Yeah, you have to get a rating.
You have to get a rating from USPPA. Karaoke. Not just anybody can do it, you know. That's it's big stuff there.
that might need to be a shirt or something that we need to put out there, you know, for people, or a patch that says PPGK, and they'll be like, "What is PPGK?" You know what PPGK?
Yeah. Hey, I'll make a hat with it. It says PPGK.
There you go. What wing was that? Josh Sunshine wants to know when that happened.
It was a 23 McPara Charger.
That was my first wing. I like
that. That was my first wing, and I love that wing.
Mm-hmm. What are you flying now? Are you flying the
I got a 22 Sirocco for the regular flying, and then the beach flying, I've used a 20 Piper.
Right.
What is now you said that you're 170 pounds. Did you ever try to fly an Atom 80 or top 80 type of mission?
Yeah. You know, that's just kind of, it's an interesting concept, and it's smooth, and it's really cool, but you know, it just doesn't have without the power, I don't know. Something about the power. I would rather have the power than the lightness and the smoothness of it.
I hear you. I agree.
Yeah, power is our friend.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. And it can even make up for some poor technique, you know?
Well, and you know, I just recently, I don't know, it's been about 3 months ago, a fellow that, you know, we were flying, and because of a lack of power, he got into a situation where, you know, all of us were flying larger engines and were able to clear this obstacle on takeoff without any issue. And the lack of power, he wasn't able to clear it and had to do a low, fast maneuver. And he went in hard.
As a full-time. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, if he would have had a larger engine, he probably wouldn't have had that issue.
Yeah. Do you mind if I shared something here real quick?
Please.
Sean?
Please.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Those are my feet, and that's the power line right there.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
No.
So that's when I first, that was one of the first flights that I had taken with the Moster. And had I not had that extra power, and I just came from Atom 80, had I not had that extra power, I would never have cleared that. Never.
So you cleared that.
I cleared it. Yeah, I did.
It looks like you're fixing to run right into it.
I was. It was unbelievably close. And actually that blue line makes it look even further away. Well, see, if you look right under the blue line, there's the power line.
Wow.
Is that blue line like the electricity on the power line that I'm seeing, or what is that?
Oh no, that's just me. That was just part of my video.
That's what I thought it was. I thought that was electricity going.
Ooh, dang.
Like a high jump.
Yeah. So I mean, it was so that's just reminding me when we were talking about power and saving lives or whatever. I firmly believe that had I not had that extra power, if I was still on the Atom 80, I would not have cleared that. There's just no way.
Yeah. I agree. So, Will, does your wing match those pretty shoes you had on?
They do.
What do you fly, Will?
Huh? I fly
a
Colorado, a 23 Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, love that.
Pretty red one.
Huh? A red one. Red, black, and
pretty
white.
red one. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Are there any Paramotor songs that are out there that we can karaoke to that Paramotor song? I don't know if anybody made a Paramotor song yet, but if you are a music artist and you're listening to this, please make a really cool Paramotor song and make a karaoke song to it, and we'll go up there and we'll fly and we'll sing the Paramotor song.
There is a
Yeah.
Paramotor Song.
Oh yeah?
What is it? What is it?
I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that. But someone sang it at one of the fly-ins around the camp, around a little fire.
Really?
Yeah, sure did.
You guys out there that are still listening to us, and that you can type in the super chat. Do you know of a Paramotor song? And if you do, please post it.
So the
Mariah
song we
Carey's
need to do
Fly
this
Like a
to is
Bird.
I just want
I
to fly.
believe I can
There you go.
fly.
Fly me to the moon.
I believe I can touch.
We can
the
remix
sky.
Ice Ice
It's
Baby.
everybody
Fly,
reads in the
fly,
chat.
baby.
Okay, we gotta go now.
Linda Bill H suggests Martina. I'm assuming that's Martina McBride.
You want,
Oh, I
Martina
thought
McBride,
I thought he suggested a martini.
Her songs, she's got a real powerful voice. I do
Up
Mary
and away.
Chapin Carpenter. I can kill it on her song. Yeah.
Nelly Furtado had I'm Like a Bird.
Harris Smith 101 said up and away.
Up and away. Oh, there you go. Oh my gosh.
My Beautiful Balloon.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember
Wow.
that.
I feel old now.
I know.
Hey, I'm gonna throw this out there. So years ago, I was looking for songs that were flying songs because I just loved listening to music while I was flying. And somewhere I asked it on Facebook or Paramotor or somewhere. And anyway, this dude sent me a playlist of about, I don't know, it was maybe 20 songs. And I don't know a lot of songs. You know, it's like I wasn't that much into it when I was younger. But he sent me a list, and I thought, oh, that was so cool. And I got on YouTube. That's where I listened to my music. And I put each one of those in a playlist, and then I started flying, listening to this music. And every one of those songs was about crashing and dying.
That's not the song that we want.
No, you don't want that one. No.
Greg,
Yeah.
Greg Lenny said Rocket Man.
Rocket Man, that's a great song. I've put that to some video. I mean, made some and put music to them before. And that particular one got a lot of views.
Hot Cocoa said Chris Small sang the Paramotor song in Bad Apples and Moonshiners of 2022. Oh, Danger Zone, Air Force Fight Song, BEE Double Run, Rocket Man. Yeah, it'd be really neat to be able to do that. I'm still thinking PPGK. I think that's freaking awesome.
I got the best one for Linda.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Wind Beneath My Wings by Bette Midler.
That's
That's all you, Linda.
That's a sad song.
It is what you make it. Just like sing it in a chipper tone.
Don't you know that you're my hero?
Well, I'm singing it, I'm crying. You're my hero.
Yeah. Let's wait for the video.
You know what when I'm traveling, what I do to find a place, whatever town I'm in, I just Google Maps soccer field, and even if the soccer field is not possible, it's usually soccer fields are in flat areas, you know, where if the soccer field doesn't work, there may be other things that are flat in that area that's easy to take off from. So I've always had good luck just typing in soccer field or soccer complex, and then it brings up schools and soccer fields and football fields, and it just brings up all kinds of stuff in the little towns.
Something that you can do too is get yourself a free account over at PPG Zone. And if you go there, they got a map of all the members and where they're located. So if you're going through and you see different pilots where you're going through, you can contact them through the PPG Zone and say, hey, what's some good LZs around here? You want to go fly?
That is a great idea. I hadn't thought about that.
Yep. That's what I love these podcasts for. These podcasts, they help us out so much. I never knew about PPGK, but now I'm thinking about PPGK.
But like I said, I get to fly early in the morning since I get up so early every morning. And man, you know, the morning flying in the summer is just wonderful. It's just excellent time to fly is mornings, better than the afternoons, I think.
Yeah, it's so nil wind. Matter of fact, I did that nil wind launch with that Blackhawk 220, and no kidding, nil wind, wet everything. I laid out the wing, clipped in, got the wing above my head, took 8 steps, I was in the air.
Wow.
That was nil wind, was 8 steps.
Wow. What's the secret?
My secret is, the secret is not to run, is to lean backwards into the thrust. Trust your thrust, trust your paramotor, lean backwards into it, and then just keep your balance as you're going. You're not running forward like you got a backpack on. You lean backwards and you're just skipping, basically, keeping balance.
I like that. Use your thrust. Trust your thrust.
Trust your thrust.
If you don't have an
What's that?
If you got some thrust.
that's how I took off when I was using the Atom 80.
Really?
Yeah, I was just leaning back like that, went full throttle. I was just keeping my balance. Yeah, it looked like I ran a marathon, but I was just keeping balance, and the thrust was pushing me. Yeah.
Has anybody heard anything more about that Amazon drone thing? Has that ever come to a conclusion, or anybody know anything about it?
I thought all of the feedback and responses and all that had to be in by, wasn't it August 2nd?
Yeah, I think so. I responded to it and wrote something, but I haven't heard anything, whether they made a decision or what's happening.
I haven't either. That's a good question.
Anybody in the super chat know anything about those drones that are supposed to be flying in our airspace?
It's USBLV OS. That sound right?
I think so.
Sure.
Don't know. You know where the update would probably be on the USPPA's website, if there was anything.
Yeah, I haven't checked it. Been kind of on the busy side, unfortunately.
Man, when we were down there, we flew around the Aviator place down there. Has anybody flown around there? Man, that's a really cool area down there. They have so much area to fly, and it is so beautiful down that way.
Yeah, I flew there last year. Well, this year, I guess, for the first time. Lake Wales?
Yeah. Did you take off from the Aviator place there?
I did.
Yeah.
Lots of orange trees and alligators.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Lots of water and those trees with all that moss coming out of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I happened to fly an early morning there, and it was real foggy out there on the bottom, and I got into some really nice fog down on the ground. It was really cool.
You see any pigs?
Yeah, I did. I chased some of them. I've got some videos. I was thinking about putting them out, but chasing pigs, I was like right on top of them, but I kind of didn't know if that would be politically correct or not.
No, check out Never Trust a Skinny Chef Shane's channel. He's always, got footage of pigs and alligators and you name it.
And he's chasing them?
Well, he happens to be flying over them as they're running,
Yeah.
Aren't those javelinas? That's what they call the wild pigs? Or are they just...
I don't know. They're a nuisance. I know that.
We took the kids one time to a place around here somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but they would give you a semi-automatic shotgun, strap you into a helicopter with the doors off of it, and so that you wouldn't fall out, and you put your feet out on the skids, and they just go diving and doing all this, and you're just going shooting at
oh my gosh, that sounds like something out of a movie.
They had a blast.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to visualize that. That's insane.
Yeah, the chopper pilot briefed them before they got in there. He said, "Okay, guys, so if you think you're going to throw up, let me know, and I'll pull up, and we'll quit doing all this stuff." He said, "If it looks like you can't stop and you're going to throw up," he said, "do this and throw up in your shirt." Because if you throw up and it's not in your shirt, it's going to come out into this cockpit and it's going to swirl around in here like that. it's gonna get all over the windows. And then when that happens, the other guy over there, he's gonna throw up, and then I'm gonna throw up, and then it's all gonna be just going around inside of the helicopter.
That's like something Jackass should do.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, John.
We got John Wayne was here. There's quite a few that have already left, but we had Para Ninja and Cope J, Jeremy, Bill H.
Okay.
Augie, Hairsmith 101. Now, is that person cut hair? I don't know.
I don't know. Augie agree does.
Travis Dupont, James. Hey, I'm in there. And Hot Coco is there. And Daniel Williamson. He made a few comments which are very contributory. Thank you.
Okay.
James, I think I said that. And Will.
Is that a word? Contributory?
James is our regular.
That's got to be a word. I think it's descriptive of contributions. I thought you were a car dealer, not an English teacher. Okay, and then we got Greg Frederick who was there. And there is actually quite a few Gregs in the house.
I know Greg Frederick. Man, that dude's in paradise right now on a little island out in the middle of the ocean.
He was in the chat.
Cool.
Where's he at?
Hi, Greg.
I thought he was.
I think St. Martin.
Oh, nice.
St. Martin.
Hi.
St. Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, Greg Frederick was actually talking when we're talking about the oil. He said that Kyle O's specialty mix was Sabre 66-1.
Ah, okay.
And
that's what I'm going to be using is 60-1 Sabre whenever I just mixed up some.
Yeah, I'm going to try that too. And then there's Skinny Chef Shane. He's on here. And Travis Dupont.
Dupont?
Yeah, Corey Case. Josh Marsh made a few comments. John Fearman. He said hello. Greg Linney. I think I got that right. Josh Sunshine. I haven't seen that name before. Who's Josh Sunshine? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Fly. And Deweese. She showed up later on. It's nice that she showed up.
Yeah.
Love you, girl.
We had a lot of people that it seems like, and that's always good. We check our stats, and we get about 5,000 downloads every 30 days. We just checked, and we had a little more than 5,000 downloads for our podcast, our audio podcast. So you can search for PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, and it's everywhere. It's probably on your favorite podcasting app.
Oh! I remember what I was going to say when I was talking about that.
Okay,
I didn't. So, and it has to do with what you just said. So I haven't watched. Somehow I have missed that Paramotor Podcast is a thing until Robert went on your channel, and then I've been watching it ever since, and I just really enjoy it. It's been very enjoyable. So that's what I was going to say that I forgot.
That's cool. So that's how you got it, start showing interest. Like, let's see what this show's all about.
Yeah.
And then look at it, all came together. And then I found you on Facebook, and you came on the show, and the rest is history.
One of the things that we get emails and stuff from truckers that, you know, they're on the road for 8 hours and they love to listen to podcasts, and some of them found us and they listen to, 2-3 hours worth of podcasts, and time goes by really quick for them. So for everyone that's out there that's listening to us and you are on a long trip, we love you. Drive safe.
Right.
And thanks for driving and carrying all that stuff around.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
I got to say hi to Randy Aldridge if he's listening. He's one of my truckers from Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
So, so he watches our show, when he can. So, so if he is listening, thank you, truckers. Thank you all.
Thank you, truckers. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And there's some truckers that actually carry their paramotors with them, and they fly every chance they get in different states.
Ah, that's a neat idea.
So if you're retired, Shawn, and you want to fly in more states, Shawn, then he can do the CDL thing, and that would be fun, huh?
I like it. I've always thought it would be cool to be a trucker and be able to just get paid to see the country.
Yeah, and then fly when you pull. You know, there's something. Yeah, it's like I was driving to Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, someplace, and I was looking at all these different places that you could pull over. You know, and the rest stops. Right, a lot of the rest stops. There's a lot of open land. And I'm thinking, we could probably go to all these different rest stops and
yeah, park your truck there. It would be safe. Launch from there. And
oh man,
it just says no overnight parking. It doesn't say anything about paramotors, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
I've launched from a few rest stops. It worked.
What's Robert doing?
You're not allowed to overnight park at a rest stop?
I think you can.
Some places say don't, but they just don't want people to come up there with a camper and stay there for a couple days.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
So if you go there and you are sleeping overnight, no one's going to bother you. They just don't want campers to camp out. That's all.
I was told though it's not real safe at those trucks or at those stops because anyway, it's
I haven't
dangerous.
had any problems. I've done it a million times. Parked and slept almost everywhere, traveling the country.
I haven't had any problems either.
Haven't had any problems.
Well, that's good. I'm gonna do it on the way to Florida.
When are you going to Florida?
January 1st, I believe.
Wow. Really?
Yep.
What are you going to be doing in Florida, Jim?
Oh, I'm gonna start back to my usual life, pre-COVID life, which is whatever I want.
Buying a paramotor in Florida? I like that.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to it. My properties are right close to Lake Wales. I'm in Lakeland, so I'll go over there and hang out with the guys, try and figure out the areas where we can fly, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, can't wait for you to stop over where I am and we can go fly too. I'm just saying, whatever.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah, and stop over where Will is, where Robert is, and Shawn and Linda. Just stop over where everybody is.
I'll contact anybody who's on PPG zone.
Sounds
along
good.
my route, and I might even go off my route.
All right. Well, it's 9 o'clock. We've been talking for 2 hours on the air and a half an hour pre-show. So we've been talking for a long time.
Hey, that's what you get for getting a used up car salesman on the show with you.
That's good. That's good. But you don't understand that we've actually had longer shows than this. What's our longest show? Okay. We had what, a 5-hour show one time?
Oh man.
Yep. During
you'd have to start at 12.
Winter.
You have to start at noon, yeah.
He'd be snoring.
But yeah, we really do enjoy this. I try to do, an hour podcast, but if it just keeps on going, I'm just going to keep on talking because it's all about just paramotors, and you don't have to watch it live. I mean, if you are watching it live, thank you very much, but you can always just go to your favorite podcasting app and listen to, the podcast. What we do is, like this podcast right now, what is today's date? The 22nd, right?
Yep.
So it's August 22nd, but you won't listen to this show until August 29th because I always release the audio the week after. So if you're listening to this right now, but you don't hear it until next week, that's why. It's just a week difference. So I have to re-edit, the audio and upload it and move stuff over. And it's work, but it's fun work.
Thank you for doing that, Shawn.
Absolutely, I love it.
Well,
thank you so much, Shawn.
It's totally my pleasure. I love talking about paramotors, which is why my shirt says Warning, may talk about.
When I said thank you so much, Shawn, I meant the other Shawn.
Well, crap.
Oh, you get no
you,
respect,
Shawn.
Shawn. You get no respect, Shawn.
You know
Nobody
what?
loves you.
But no,
I'm leaving. Bye.
Grandpa. He's like, we are so done.
Last show.
Done.
We're done. This is it. You guys.
You didn't have them pom-poms.
Finish. No, you guys
Shawn,
are welcome
yes.
to
Shawn is the
hang
bomb.
out with us next week. Yeah, just jump in during the show and I'll just hang. We got Victor is in the house next week, next Monday. Victor Drum. How do you say his name? Dramba? He's our guest next week.
Victor, how do you spell his name?
D-R, I got it on my calendar. D-R-A-M-V-A.
MVA?
Yeah, like D-R, like D-R-A-M as in Mary, B-A. Dramba.
Cool.
Isn't there normally a live chat? Yes, we normally have a live chat.
Oh, John Allen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually on YouTube that we have the ongoing live chat. Our guest chat on Messenger is just for all the people that have been a guest. And we have a lot of people in this chat. It's like nonstop. We're yappity yap yap about paramotors. It's so awesome. So how many people do we have in our... Wow.
That's cool.
I'm looking right now and I'm scrolling. It's just so many people. We had so many guests on here and so many people are on our chat. That is so cool. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, when you're a guest on our show, then you get to be on the guest chat.
As long as you want. And when you're done, you can leave if you want to or stay on forever. I can't believe that September is rolling around, and that just means that New Year's rolling around and it's going to be 2023. Just like that. I know it is. It's going to be gone here in no time.
We're going to be wearing gloves here pretty soon.
Oh, don't say that.
Gloves as in cold?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll be wearing flying with our gloves on here pretty soon.
The heated gloves,
I
got battery-powered heated gloves. I love those things. Those are great. I think we might have a really warm winter since we had such a hot summer.
Tell me more.
That's what everybody's talking about, that we're going to have a really nice, warm winter, which sounds to me that we're going to be doing lots of flying.
I think from what I heard here in Michigan, because I'm in the northern part, so it's going to be, my son said, it's going to be cold now.
So you're in Michigan, Linda?
Uh-huh.
What part?
Let's see, what part? Petoskey. So I'm in northern Michigan. So so you got the sun, so I'm kind of like right here.
Oh, okay, got you.
Right there. And then my family's down here, downstate.
Yeah. So what's in between the fingers? The Great Lakes or something, or what?
Yeah. Yeah, the Great Lakes. Yeah. Yes. No, I love it up here. It's beautiful. So
cool.
When I already experienced my first winter, and but my son said it's supposed to be cold. And then Robert, my other son lives in San Diego, so I got him here and there. So I have my son here that lives by me, so it's cool. So good.
Oh, good. Wow, we've lost lots of people. We're down to like 9 people listening to us.
Okay.
They're I thought you said you guys are done. Oh my goodness. Well, I had a really good time. We definitely talked plenty about paramotors. We learned a bunch of cool stuff. And I really appreciate Shawn Lee being able to jump on here and talking. And like I said, every time I get online, I see Shawn everywhere. It's like, oh, he's taking off. Now he's landing. Now what is he doing? He's doing something else. I mean, nonstop, just videos, pop, 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 pop. So keep that up. That's really, truly awesome.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
It's been a blast.
And you are more than welcome to jump on here every Monday and be part of the panel.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
All right, I will.
That's one of the cool things about being a guest is now you can be part of the panel.
Yeah.
Cool.
We got Joshua Marsh on board now. So yeah, join the party.
Looks like Robert's going to be on here and just hang out with us. Why not, right?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Cool kids.
We are the cool kids. We are the cool kids. So,
right.
Anyways, my name is Shawn Simons. You can find us everywhere out there under PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast. We definitely appreciate you all being here on our live show, which is over at ClearPropTV.com. You can find me and my flying shenanigans over at iFlyParamotors.com. Woohoo! Or PPGGrandpa.com. It's all the same, right? We have a bunch of awesome people on the panel, so let's go ahead and say goodbye to them. Let's start off over with Jim from Canada with his maple syrup smelling money, but he also does lots of printing. He prints lots of decals. What in the world is a decal?
It's a decal.
We call them decals. They call them decals. All right. So what do you print and how can we get up with you so we can get our own stickers made?
Well, I print stickers. I can do them contour cut, however you want them done. And I'll send them out to you. So just check out, go to carepp.com and contact us. You can get it, email me or us, and we'll get somebody working on it for you. And if you want to check out my paramotor shenanigans, as Grandpa would say, then you can go to that same website. There's a landing page, and there's a button. It'll take you right there to my YouTube channel. So,
which is also careppg.com, right?
Yes, you betcha. If you want to go directly there, you can use CarePPG, and it'll take you directly to YouTube.
Awesome. I do want to get up with you because I want to make some PPGK stickers, and I want to get up with you about that. I'm serious. I think this is like the coolest thing ever. So we're going to do some PPGK stickers and a logo and all that stuff. We got to. It's awesome.
Sounds good.
Oh, Jim, thank you so much for having maple syrup smelling money and being on the panel and helping us with our stickers and calendars. You are the bomb.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Shawn, for the great interview tonight. I'm glad you took some time for us, considering the new baby and everything and all the excitement.
Unbelievable. Thank you so much, Shawn.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. It was a blast.
Absolutely wonderful. Let's see. We also have Will Fly from Will Fly PPG. Have you done any really cool videos? Of course he does, all the time. Make sure you go over to willflyppg.com, hit that subscribe and that bell notification. But tell us what you've been doing lately.
Yeah, man. Other than flying, I just released Just the Tip 4 several days ago. And within about a little over a week, I'm going to come out with Just the Tip 5. So check it out at youtube.com/willfly, or just like Shawn said, go to willflyppg.com.
That's awesome. I love just the tip.
Just the tip.
I love it. It's awesome. We also got our very own Linda Anderson, our Paramom USA.
Yeah. You can find me here every Monday night on ClearProp TV Mondays, or you can go over on Thursday night and you can find me on paraglidingchalk.com with my son, Robert Michaels. He is the host of the host. And every once in a while, I sneak in the Zoom, during the show. Usually I'll ask Robert, I'll say, hey, can you send me the link so I can, jump in the Zoom, during the show? And then I always have to tell him, I promise I'll behave. But most of the time, it doesn't work that way, because a lot of times, he'll be like, Mom, you know how he does that. Mom, I'm going to have to mute you. So, but I love you guys. I love everything about paramotors, and I think it's because Shawn doesn't know. I'll say real quick. I did my first tandem at Torchport, the airport here. It's like 45 minutes from my house on Memorial Weekend with Eric Lear and Jade Lear. I did my first tandem ride, and with Northern Lights Paramotors. So so it was fun. So I encourage anybody who hasn't done it yet to get that tandem ride. I'm ready for another one. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, looks like Will's going to be jumping off, but we appreciate you, Will. Have a great evening.
Thank you all. Oh, wait, and your show's tomorrow night.
Oh, Will, you're on mute. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just saying goodnight to the just in the chat. But yeah, tomorrow night, check it out. It's Tuesday night hangouts. We talk about paramotors and just about anything else that comes to mind. So 8 p.m. on YouTube. You can go to ppgshane.com and yeah, come join us.
And Wednesday is Girls Wanna Fly.
Real quick on something safety. This week I was flying a new area and I landed and I took, luckily I had already landed, took one step and fell in a hole. So be sure to, yeah, he was laughing all the time. Be sure to check your surroundings. Even if you've flown in that field 1,000 times, gophers, all kinds of stuff makes holes, and that could really break a leg or an ankle. So,
yeah, man.
You're lucky. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's on Paramotor if you want to see it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, how do we?
Well, you know, most people look where they're running. You know, just saying.
Man, that hole was camouflage.
Blame it on the hole.
Hate when that happens. Jeez.
Yeah.
So where do we find that, Robert? How do we find you?
Well, I have a YouTube, but I don't ever really post anything. Instagram's Fades for Days. Facebook is Robert A. Muse, and I posted it on Kylo's Paramotor School page on Facebook, and Paramotor for Beginners. So I post a little on there, mainly just post on my page on Facebook.
All righty. Well, thank you very much, Robert, for jumping on here and being part of the panel. We always appreciate you. And of course, once again, Shawn Lee, man, I appreciate you being here. You just got a new grandbaby, but you're sitting in your car interviewing with us. Thank you. And wow, you know,
hanging out and talking about paramotors, dang it.
That is awesome.
Yep.
I think I would have been in a lot of trouble if my grandkid was born and I'm like, I'm going to be in the car real quick and talk about paramotors. Grandbaby, thank you. Talk about paramotors.
Big sign in the window.
He's grounded, literally.
Do not disturb.
Well, seriously, thanks again, Shawn, for being on here. We definitely appreciate you. You've been an awesome guest.
Well, you're welcome. It was a blast. Thanks for inviting me.
It was awesome. Well, guys, it's been amazing. You guys have been wonderful. Thank you so much for being here still. We are down to the last 9 people, so thank you for hanging on for that last 2 hours and 16 minutes.
We wore them all out.
We did. They're all in bed. They're like, we're done. This is crazy. Who does this? Who stays up this late and talks about paramotors? But anyway, y'all have a great evening. Any words of wisdom from anybody on the panel before we head on out? Final thoughts?
Don't eat yellow snow.
Don't eat yellow snow or take wooden nickels. I love it.
If I don't see you
in the air.
I always say it backwards.
On the air.
If I don't see you in the air.
On the air.
Did I say it backwards?
If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you.
Poor Robert. There you go. I want Will to say it.
That's awesome.
I said it last time on the show and I said it backwards. I'm like, really, Paramount? Really?
It all works. We're all good. All right. Night, y'all. Have a great evening.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Peace out.
Be safe.
Bye-bye.
Night, y'all.
Peace out.